Our next speaker is Denise Pearce. We are delighted to have her. She is LPN, and she's also from Nolens originally. And so she tells me that Don makes a great gumbo, so we'll have to hold her up to that, right? Part of our nutrition seminar. But she's been doing lifestyle medicine for many, many years now, and so we have asked her to share with us some of the real things that you can do today, right? That you can do today. So thank you very much, Denise. Come on up.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, you can read through this for a moment, but I will focus on the important parts of it. What I would actually like to start with is by thanking you, because first of all, health coaching is all about you. We focus on you. You empower yourself. But the reason I want to thank you, because as a patient or a caregiver, I've been both. I am a colon cancer survivor since 2006. Thank you very much. Every day is a gift. And then I was thrust into caregiving unexpectedly with my super healthy husband who had great dental care his whole life, but was diagnosed with an ameloblastoma in 2022, which meant that he could die if he didn't have it removed. And so he had to have his entire left lower jaw removed. Major surgery. I'm going to tell you, I've been a caregiver as a nurse and LPN for over 30 years. There is nothing to compare to caring for your family. It is traumatic, and I don't know how people do it. So my hat's off to you. I applaud you for being here, because you being here says, I want to keep working on myself. I want to improve. I want to change things. I want to just be my best self. So thank you and everyone at home for showing up for you, okay? And I should introduce myself. Obviously, these are all my letters. I'll try to explain this very quickly. First, I was an LPN since 1993, graduated, started practicing in 94. I look around the room and I think some of you are not even twinkle in your parents' eyes yet. But that's okay, I have a lot of experience behind me. I went back to school at age 52 for my Bachelor's of Science. My mother had died, and I realized that life was for living, and that you can't just keep waiting and planning. So I got a Bachelor of Science, not in nursing, because I was 30 years in and I didn't want to do that anymore. Bachelor of Science in Integrative Healthcare was my major, and Lifestyle Medicine was my minor. Integrative Healthcare is thrown around a little bit, but basically that is bringing medicine and surgery and treatments and chemo together with some of the things I'm going to show you today, which are things that you can do on your own, no appointment needed, no cost, okay? Health coach, those are the last initials, National Boards for Certification of Health and Wellness Coaches, that's our logo. And that is also a word that is, or a phrase, profession that is seen everywhere. I think it's confusing when I tell people that I'm a certified health coach, they say, oh. And they either just go, or, oh, is that like the myth that is on the NBC's website? Oh, is that like a mix of like you do this and you do that and you do this? And it's like, sort of, yes. We are gonna look at all of these aspects of your life. We do not just look at mind, body, spirit, although that is one of the myths as well. Although these are all affected by and affect the mind, body, and spirit. Can we agree? Yes, thank you. So, having said that, let me just also emphasize the last few words of their fact definition, because you all can read the beginning, but we are going to ensure your care is safe, professional, and focused on empowering you to make lasting change. That's what sold me on this program. We, as coaches, unlike nurses, do not give you the facts and the instructions. Nurses, yes. Doctors, yes. This is your medicine, take this. This is when you need to be back here. We are trained to ask you the questions that will help you come up with answers, then it will last. If you find your own information, if you can answer the questions that, as I said, we are taught how to ask them, of course, you will have sustainable, another big word being thrown around, but you will truly have sustainable change. So this is my push, my plug for health coaches. I always start with attitude every day of my life, before a coaching session, before I go to work. Forgive me if you've seen this, it's been around since 1995. Attitude was written by Charles Swindoll. It was in emails, it was in offices and schools, I'm sure. It's very true. I won't read it in detail, you can look this up easily. He basically states, though, that attitude can make or break anything. It can make or break schools, churches, businesses, relationships. It will make or break. It really can. And the last sentence or two is definitely one of the most famous you've seen on commercials, etc. I am convinced that life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I react to it. And so it is with you. We are in charge of our attitudes. I like how he says in here too, we cannot change, oh wait, we have a little, yeah, I forgot about that. We cannot change our past. How true. We cannot change the fact that people will act in a certain way. We cannot change the inevitable. We can't change our circumstances, but we can change how we react. So please go with that, okay? Just keep that attitude, and hopefully some of the things that we talk about will help you with that as well. I always start with a definition. By the way, do we understand that today is November the 1st? All Saints Day, All Souls Day. In our Hispanic community, I'm going to try it, Dia de los Muertos, right? Something like that, correct. So I always start with definitions as well, but there were 16 listed in the Merriam-Webster online, everything from probably soul to alcohol essence, Dr. Lou. I love the shirt. So I went with soul because that was a more concise. As you can see, I hope we all agree this is what we're discussing, the immaterial force within us that is thought to give us energy, power, and life. And my talk is about peace, love, and balance. Peace, love, and balance is kind of my mantra. It's what I want for me. It's what I want for all of my clients. I feel like it's really what we all seek. So let's start with peace, love, and balance. Yes, you can. Peace. Yes, please, but how? Well, before I tell you that, what is your biggest thief of peace? Most of us, I think, could just say life. Yeah. Okay, but what about life, right? Work, chores, children, grandchildren, whatever. Stress. It boils down to stress. We're stressed from work, we're stressed from conversations, you name it, right? Stress is the biggest thief. So, of course, again, I love definitions, I'm sorry. Definition of stress, again, you can read this. It is a result from a series of physiological responses and adaptations, but I would also add that stress results in a series of, which comes first, the adaptations or the stress. It's not a contest, it doesn't matter. But we have acute stress, right? Acute stress, the fight or flight or freeze, we all know about that. Acute stress is life-saving. This is what we talk about with cavemen. Cavemen needed acute stress to run from the tiger so that they didn't get eaten. But when the stress resolves, that's acute. That means it was short-lived, it was intense, but it's over. A surgeon, perhaps, thank you, may have to go into emergency surgery. They're going to have acute distress. The hormones, the adrenaline is all going to go to the places to help you think, to help your extremities work, run from the tiger, etc. Acute stress is fine. I don't know how many of us have ever heard of this. I didn't learn about eustress until I was a student in this program. Eustress, you see the EU, like euphoria, is the good stress, like here, today. I had a lot of eustress before I got here, right? It was wonderful, but you're nervous, you're planning a wedding or having a baby. These are eustressors. You are stressed, yes. You're nervous, you're uptight, you have a lot to do. Are you going to remember it all, especially for weddings? But it's not the harmful stress. Our demon of stress is, if you will, chronic stress. Chronic stress will literally, not trying to be in style by using that word, but it will literally affect every aspect of your life. Body, mind, soul, every part of your life. I don't know if you can read these. I think we can all guess these, how it affects our body, mind, emotions, and behavior. Chronic stress, meaning that the parasympathetic system does not come along and slow down the acute stress. So it just, you stay in a state of stress, right? We all know it. I know we've all lived it. The stress cycle, as far as just a colorful illustration, and the list of how it affects us. Chronic stress will have you up at night or sleeping all the time. Chronic stress will have you smoking more, drinking more irritable. You guys could go down the list and name things for me. I know I could. This is all common sense. So how do we deal with that? And one more thing, though, on chronic stress, and then I'll get to how to deal with it. Do you remember the commercial, "This is your brain," and they hold up an egg? This is your brain on drugs, and they crack the egg and put it in the frying pan, correct? Well, I added the egg in the picture because I couldn't stop thinking about that, but this is literally what will happen to you if you cannot get chronic stress under control. Again, acute stress is fine. You show up to a doctor's appointment, you're a little nervous, you don't know what they're going to say, what the test results are. That's normal. But don't spend a week ahead of time on it and a week afterwards, because you will end up like a burned out car. There is a book that I resource for today called, appropriately enough, written by Robert Sapolsky, called "Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers." I know, I love the fact that it's a zebra, but it's truly the name of the book. It was a textbook for us. And he describes chronic stress in your body as a car in park with a brick on the gas pedal. And that's exactly what it does to your insides. And it shows on the outside, doesn't it? We all know this, right? So how do we deal with chronic stress? Well, we don't have enough hours in today to talk about all the methods, but let's get a few done. We're going to start with love, peace, love, not just including self-love, but almost totally self-love. Mindfulness. Anybody here heard of mindfulness? Yes. Anybody here actually practice it? Okay, thank you. It has saved me in my stress levels. Mindfulness at first blew my mind when I heard about it. How do you live in the present moment? Like, isn't that irresponsible? I thought it was like either party all the time or, live a life of responsibility. No. You can do both. You live in the moment, you take care of your responsibilities, you're still going to pay your bills, but you are going to live in the practice of maintaining a non-judgmental state of heightened or complete awareness of your thoughts, emotions, and experiences on a moment-to-moment basis. I don't know if that sounds complicated or difficult for you. It did to me when I first learned of this. But with practice, I say this a lot, life-changing. We could all use a little bit of change in certain areas. This is life-changing. And these words by Leo Buscaglio are the most succinct description I found of mindfulness. When you are eating, eat. When you are talking, talk. When you are loving, love. When you are looking at a flower, look. Catch the beauty of the moment. And can I just say that it's truly all we really have anyway. No matter what mistakes or what victories we had in the past, they're past. We can't change a thing about them. We can plan for the future. We have appointments. We cannot predict or change the future. So literally, all you really have is this moment. It will save your sanity to practice this. Again, I will repeat through this. The first sentence I said, or the first line in the description of a health coach, those last few words, I want you to dig in to these topics further. I do not have the luxury, and nor do you, of having all that time today to go into how this works and how you can do it and picture this and picture that. Besides which, it's not going to work for me exactly the same as it works for you. So please research mindfulness. You will hear mindfulness, mindful meditation. They are somewhat interchangeable, but I just like to say that I practice living mindfully. And as a bonus, even though we're not talking about food today, I just would love for you to research and practice mindful eating. I attended the sleep conference, but I did not attend the eating. I don't know if they spoke of mindful eating. Again, it will change your experience with food. If you pay attention in the moment to the flavor, the smell, the sight of your food, it becomes amazing. You will find yourself, hopefully, wanting to eat less processed foods and more pure whole foods because they taste better most of the time. So again, this is something I can't go into, but it is amazing. And there are very simple little mindful eating tricks that you can do, or exercises that you can do. So beyond that, in loving yourself, we're going to talk about visual imagery. Visual imagery has been around for a long time. I think that, well, I can tell you, I know that because one of the books I reference again is called Love, Medicine, and Miracles by Dr. Bernie Siegel. Highly recommend it, but it was published in 1988. So it's a little old. He has more recent work, and there's tons of work out there and research on visual imagery. Most of us think of visual imagery, I think, maybe with sports and football players and such, because they have used it for eons, I'm sure. They picture the play, they envision the golf swing or making the baskets, and you envision it over and over again until it becomes second nature. This is something that you can pull on for yourself for symptoms of nausea, pain, insomnia. You can pull on this for relaxation. It aligns with meditation, although meditation has much more of a goal of clearing your head and clearing your thoughts, while visual imagery is a focused goal. So again, the science of it, the technique of it, I can briefly get into with you, but this is something that you will have to research yourself. I'm sorry, it just is, because it's very deep. And again, you want to find what clicks with you when you're reading, when you're researching. You want to find, oh, that makes sense. Okay, I can try it that way, okay? Because there's a lot of information. Visual imagery can be done in a busy city. I think you might want to get away from some noise to be able to visualize whatever it is you're looking at. We'll talk in a little bit more. You can sit in a meditative pose for visual imagery. I couldn't help sharing a picture of skateboarders because I would think if I was a skateboarder or whoever is into it would do a lot of visual imagery, because that is a scary sport for me. And I would think you'd want to practice that in your mind 1,000,000 times before you do it. So also you can do visual imagery. You can do this walking. As I said, athletes have used this technique for years. And let me explain a little more scientifically about it. As I said, one of my favorite writers, Dr. Bernie Siegel, I was into that book when it first came out, before this was even cool. He says that there's actually a weakness in the body that enables visual imagery to work, that we, or our body, cannot distinguish between a vivid mental experience and an actual physical experience. So I thought, oh, yes, this is just one quote from Dr. Siegel. His entire book, Love, Medicine, and Miracles, is about antidotes, true stories about people who have used this for helping in their health journey. They have used it with their cancer, with their COPD, with their insomnia. It is scientifically proven to work for the reason, that brief reason he said, but then, as I said, the book is full of other realistic, factual stories of people who use it. He worked with children. It's just amazing. And the trick here was that you want to learn, if you're using visual imagery for medical reasons, basically, you're going to want to learn from your doctor, nurse, or research enough about how the body processes work so that you can visualize them working for your betterment, obviously. Okay, so you may have some kind of conjured up image of whatever organ is bothering you. But if you actually learn a few more details about how the blood flows, I'm not talking on a cellular level or chemistry level. You don't need to know about the sodium and potassium and, but just how it works, you can put yourself there and you can visualize your body doing what it needs to do. Again, practice. You will have to practice it. You will have to dig into it, and you will have to research it a little further. But I show these pictures to say, I'm a mountain lover. When I want to use visual imagery for relaxation, I visualize mountains. I know many of us visualize beaches because I don't have anything against them either. They're fabulous. And we can use this for medical procedures or, as I said, symptoms. The same book was a study quoted by this Dr. Charles Garfield. You can see that. Again, no promises, but he saw his patients reach a state of mind that made them able to perform, as you can see, like those of athletes, at levels beyond the ordinary. And again, I'm not up here making promises. I can't. But there's a whole, this is just one book written about it. There are dozens and probably hundreds and thousands of books written about what you can do with your mind. We all hear this growing up, right? Well, oh, we only use 10% of our brain or whatever it is, right? Tap into some more. It really works. So again, I have to ask you to research this further. I can promise you it works. And let me back up and give you one more little deet about my personal visual imagery. You see a picture of a window, you're like, why is the window there? This is something that I was taught to do, and I still practice it. My mother actually taught me this. She said, Denise, when I pray, because visual imagery wasn't in her vocabulary yet, but when I pray, when I pray or meditate, one of the first things I do once I get comfortable, reduce sound, I'll start my deep breathing, and I actually imagine a clear, super clean window pane across the front of me. And this way, I feel like the power, the wisdom, the answers from whoever, whether it's meditation and I'm asking it of the universe, or it's prayer and I'm asking it of God, whatever your beliefs are, I envision this window over my heart and soul so that they have an unobstructed path to reach me. And I was like, wow, Mom, that's kind of cool, and I've been using it ever since. So I had to include a window so that I would remember that particular part of my presentation. And of course, finally, balance. Balance to me is so key. What is it? Balance is just a need. When you're out of balance, and we're almost all out of balance on a daily basis. Let's see how we can work on that, because it is key. I included in your bag, in your folder, a little copy of this. I also have extra prints of the balance wheel. Has anyone seen this before? Heather, don't raise your hand. I know Heather has because she's a health coach. Has anyone seen anything like this? No. Maybe? Okay. So you can play along. Thanks. This is something that is amazing for having a coaching client do on their own or in a session. And this is something I encourage you to do as often as needed. I also have pencils here to give you so that if you want to do your wheel of balance that's in your bag, and then you want to come back a month or so later and erase that, you can do it again. Or you can make copies and do it again, whatever. This is something that's visual and tactile. So basically you can see that we split your life into about 8 categories. No matter what example you're looking at, you're going to see different wording on them because we all pick and choose different words to describe the parts of our life, you know. Some people will say spirituality, some people might say religion, some people, you can see these two are different, okay? The point is, the bottom line is, we start in the middle with 1 being not a lot of satisfaction in that area or none, and we go out to 10 being completely satisfied. So you can, or fulfilled as well. So you can see the example on your right is this person is completely happy in their spirituality. They are pretty full in their hobbies, recreation, fun, career, business. Where they may be lacking is going to be your social and friends. I don't know anyone that scores really high in money because we're all like, could be better, right? So I'm going to do mine with a marker and show you how easy it is, okay? Hopefully you can see it up here. I will start with career, and again, we go 1 through 10 out. My career is probably a good solid 8 right now. I'm heading towards semi-retirement. I'm happy, I'm here doing this, and this is my love and my passion, so can't get too much better, maybe even an 8, 9, okay? Money, yep, I'm gonna go down here. Not bad, you know, we don't want for things, but we could always do better, right? Personal development and education, rather. Okay, so I give myself an 8, I think, on that, not too bad. Significant other, romance. 10, my honey's here, my husband's here, so of course I have a 10 with my romance and significant other. Friends and family. This is a struggle for me because I don't make enough time for friends and family. So I want to score myself higher, but in reality, I'm going to say I'm at a 6. I need to live now, you know, and make more time or priority for family and friends. See, I'm also human. I'm not up here just preaching. My health, again, I'm human. I'm not going to put it at a 10 or even a 9. I'll give myself a 7 because I could definitely do better, but I also do a lot of this, so I'm okay, you know. Physical environment, I love my physical environment. My home is good size. We have a great backyard. We can walk right outside and see the mountains, so my physical environment's not any problem. And fun and recreation. I've been working a lot, so this is like a 5 or 6. I'm going to be truthful. It's a 5. Okay, so I'm going to connect my lines. Can you guys see this? Okay, and it's the same thing on here, of course, with the colors. You can use crayons or colored pencils, I don't care. But if I were to shade this in, right, in each of my sections, this wheel of balance is not very balanced, as it will not be with you. But here's the good news. You can look at this and say, oh, I really need to do better with friends and family and fun and recreation. But look, I'm kind of killing it with my physical environment and my significant other. And, you know, so you can look at the ways that you are fulfilled and happy in your life and feel like you are doing your best. And then you can also see, when I put it on paper, yeah, I really do need to work on these 3 areas. So as a health coach, we would go over this with you, of course, so that we can help guide you in the direction of what can we do for your personal growth? Or no, not we, excuse me, what can you do in your personal growth? Again, with leading questions, we were trained to say and ask the correct wording. So if you use this, you can help maintain and gain and maintain your balance. I love that it covers all the areas of our life because they all affect each other, obviously. Obviously, also, the goal will be to have the areas equal so that you actually could roll that wheel if it were real, okay? I love this exercise. I hope you do. I hope you will participate in that when you get home. Like I said, this exact slide copy is in your bag, and I have more copies of the wheel if you just want to take it home and show your family or whatever. Hey, look what I learned. Big deal, right? No, it's very helpful, I promise. And for wrapping up, I also made a list of things you can control, because that might have been the original talk that I was going to give, things you can control. Most of these are free. Almost all of these are free. Some we talked about today, some we did not. But they are attitude, free. You control it. No one else. We might think someone else does, right? Because they make you mad or they frustrate you. But honestly, it comes back to you. Attitude, gratitude, free. Mindfulness, free. We have a saying in our house, if it's free, it might be for me. These are almost all free, okay? They really are. They take your time and that's it. Practicing meditation, Tai Chi, and yoga. Visual imagery for symptoms and or relaxation, all free. Walking outdoors when able. We live in one of the most beautiful states I've ever seen. If you can get outside and walk, even if it's just 2 houses down and back because you're too tired, just get the fresh air. Look at the leaves, the snow, whatever's going on. We really do have one of the best environments for walking outdoors. And it's highly recommended. It's totally different than treadmill. Although treadmill will do. It's better than nothing, okay? Activity of any kind that you enjoy. Biking, riding a stationary bike, whatever it is. Reflection is always important. Again, we're not going to change yesterday, we can't predict tomorrow, but reflection can help you keep it in context, right? While you're out on that walk outside, reflect on what you're doing that's working and what you're doing that's not, and talk to yourself about it. And of course, social connections are a big deal as well. Whether you're making them here today, which good for you, or through work, school, neighborhood, it doesn't matter. Keep connecting with people, because that is also something that we do not have enough hours to go into today, but is huge in your health, okay? So that is my chat, and these are my resources and recommended reading. A lot of these were textbooks for me in that integrative healthcare class. The values factor is amazing. The other one I talked about, Love, Medicine, and Miracles, and Sapowski. Oh my gosh, did I leave Sapowski out? I did. What a shame. But you can remember it because it's zebras. Why zebras don't get ulcers, right? And I invite you to check those out. Thank you. Wishing you peace, love, and balance. Thanks.
Well, actually, I thought it was very interesting because you may have heard Denise and Jean talk about a couple things. They talked about eating. They talked about sleep. They talked about just exercise, getting up and walking down 2 houses. Now you see, they all go together. They have to go together. So if you can't just do one. You cannot just do one. And the mindfulness, I think, is so critical nowadays. When I make rounds in the morning with Piper and Kate and Eleanor, I don't know if you ever noticed this, but I smell the flowers every time I walk around. Yeah, because I work in a hospital, right? People send flowers all the time. And so I smell the flowers because it's something that helps ground me when I have to figure out how to make sure this person is not, you know, how to help them and how to make them better.